I'm really excited on like multiple fronts. This has been what people have been waiting for, right? This has been it. This has been the installment we have been waiting for. And I'm also really excited as to look at like what Asmongold has to say about this, because like to put gently, he does not sugarcoat anything ever. So like if he doesn't think it's worth his time, you will know. You'll 1000% know right off the bat. And so I'm getting a little bit clickbaited. So like this is I'm excited.
All right, so I've had a lot of people talk about this, and like people have been posting about it a lot. Yeah, this is, oh, here's one right here. Well, I'll watch the trailer first, and I'll create my own opinion.
Who are you? Who you serve?
All I have ever known in my life. Our land,
Looks nice.
our customs, my family. Burns in the name of unification.
What era? Wait.
Fuck.
Was that the Tokugawa crest?
You are still a frog in a well who knows nothing of the sea. The ocean's filled with new ships, but
It
they
wasn't
all come
Oda,
from the
was
same
it?
River. Greed.
So this is the guy?
Power. Vengeance.
My understanding, by the way, is that's not what they did, but it doesn't really matter.
Huh? Wait, hold on. What are we talking about? I'm confused. What?
My understanding, by the way, is that's...
The ocean's filled with new ships, but they all come from the same river. Greed.
So this is the guy?
Power. Vengeance.
My understanding, by the way, is that's not what they did, but it doesn't really matter. That's cool.
And you
Oh, is it really about Yasuke?
down that river. Or choose another path beyond what we see.
And we must look for it. Together. We must learn to trust. Rebuild.
And follow the blade.
I will say the choreography for like the fights is pretty cool.
This makes me wonder, is this gonna be like Syndicate? Yeah, Syndicate, where it was the twins and you were switching between them.
Is that a mace?
Fight Club.
I said.
I love it. Look.
We are the shadows.
That served the light.
Yeah, there we go. We got that Assassin's Creed banger.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Yasuke.
there it is, and that's the game right there, a woke game. And so basically, a lot of people are mad because apparently this black guy Like, this is Yasuke. I don't look. I don't know a lot about Japanese, like, when was this? This was like the 1800s, right? I'm pretty sure like early 1800s, somewhere around there. I don't really say, was it 1600s?
Like
okay, yeah, I don't remember exactly. Cause I
it would
remember,
have been it would have been like the end of the Sengoku period.
like the Nobunaga, who was like the guy who this guy served. The reason why, like, one big thing with him is he used like guns and like his armies, and that's like where they showed it, but he used it with like bow and arrows too. And so like there's like an element of this that's like attached to realism and like to something that actually happened. He wasn't a samurai. Yeah, like I'll tell you this, right, is I've read things about this, I've heard things about this, I watched like a documentary about like this time period even. This guy was never even mentioned. Like, it never even got mentioned once, right? Like, I had no idea this guy even existed until, what do you call it? Until this game got announced, right? He was just a retainer. Well, like,
There's been only a couple of things to where they actually talk about like his story and legend. I think I know of like one anime that might. I don't really remember exactly what it was called though.
he was a slave. I don't necessarily know that. Literally no one in Assassin's Creed is real. So you have Yasuke, but there's not a single mention of Nobunaga Oda.
Literally no one in Assassin's Creed is real. It doesn't matter. They all died by now. Like,
Weird or off? I think that there clearly is, right? I mean, like, I would say, like, this kind of indicates, I mean, I bet that's him. Like, if I had to say, I bet that's probably him. Now, I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, that's it. Let me see what this is.
So we got our first look at the new Assassin's Creed game, and I gotta say, man, I'm not impressed. I'm actually just really annoyed right now. We have two main protagonists, one female, one male, just like Odyssey. We're gonna be using Neo, I hope I said that right, a female Japanese character. Yeah. And for the male character, they're gonna be using Yasuke. Now, I'm annoyed because they're using Yasuke, and I'm gonna tell you why. Yasuke is what they want to say is the first black Japanese samurai, when in all actuality, he was not even a samurai. He was a retainer, so he wasn't even a full-blown samurai. And for all of the characters they could have used for Japan, all these kind of different people they could have picked from, they picked Yasuke. Why do they pick Yasuke? Because he's black.
Obviously.
So in context, that doesn't matter to me. Because in all the Assassin's Creed games, every single character has been of some kind of different race and nationality, so that doesn't matter to me. That's fine. But you have to understand what day and age we're in. You have to understand the kind of social shit that they want to try to get across in these video games now. So instead of using a Japanese man in a game based in Japan, like they did with the other Assassin's Creed games, Altair, he was an Arab, obviously. One of my favorites, Connor.
For what it's worth, Altair was a bit skewed because he only had the correct like accent in some iterations, but when it came to Assassin's Creed 1, he just had, I think, whoever voiced Desmond, I think he just was like a little bit deeper with it. So like it, despite his name being Altair ibn La'ahad, he came off very English, and I liked the way he sounded over the accent, but the accent made more sense. I just got distracted. I don't give a fuck. I'm still buying it. Yeah, it's like I guess I get like why someone might be bothered by it, I guess. But like, to me, I feel like this particular story is more about what the representation of the Assassin's Creed games are. It's about like the things that operate in the shadows, right? And I feel like a lot of like the Japanese culture of the time, there was a lot of like honorable battles and stuff, honorable stages in which these things demonstrated, like, and I feel like going this route prioritizes more of what it means to be part of the creed and less of what it means to be part of that individual era.
In Assassin's Creed 3, he was Native American. That was fine. And the most famous of them all, Ezio Auditore, who was Italian. So why in all those games would you have a character representative of the region they're from? But in this game, you want to demote a Japanese man and then use Yasuke. I understand why. We know why. But they're not going to tell you why. Because if you call it out, you're some kind of ist or phobe or whatever. And since I'm black and I'm calling it out, that means that I must hate my skin or something.
I honestly think, I mean, yeah, it could be the progressive angle. That could be the predominant reason. But I do personally feel like this story fits more with the aspect of like what it means to be like what like the Creed, what the Templar Order, like what all that entails. They could have probably have gone this with the like Fuma route, though. They probably could have gone with this with the even like Hanzo Hattori. Probably could have done this, but I could also see them not wanting to touch those. Why am I so like I guess I have to ask like myself the question, why am I not bothered by this? Why does something like this not bother me? Why would should it bother me? Should I be bothered by the fact of this story? I think I'm not bothered because I feel like this particular direction plays really well into the story that the Assassin's Creed IP tells. I think that's why. I ain't got nothing for it. It don't bother me that much. It's not that serious to me, I guess. And maybe that makes me shitty.
I just see this and my immediate thought is they did this for brownie points. I can't think.
Yeah, I think that's the way a lot of people feel about it. It's the same with having like a girl as an assassin. Like what the like, bro, like yeah, you had a little bit of that, but like what are we doing here? Like we're gonna really talk about this is what feudal Japan was like? It's a story about a black guy and a girl? Like that's just probably not.
No, see, that's where I feel like they're misinterpreting and misunderstanding the Assassin's Creed games. The Assassin's Creed games are not like this is what it was like in a realistic like setting. If you wanted to go like the realistic like aspect of exactly what like maybe like, you know, with a little bit of like legends and stuff of like the period, you could do like Rise of the Ronin, or you could do something like Ghost of Tsushima, or you could do something like freaking what was it, the Sekiro, or you could do something like I got another one, the Neo games. You could do any of these. When it comes to the Assassin's Creed games, they take the likeness of historical periods, combining with how shadow organizations operate in these fields. That is the predominant story. So the people that you're following is not about the typical people that are out there. It's about the people that are hiding in plain sight. That's what it's about.
Not the way it was. And it's like, it doesn't really matter, right? It's like, you know, for example, because I was thinking about this, is like The Last Samurai. Because like Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai. Like, why did people, like, because I don't know, like, how much different really is that versus this? It's hard really to say. Because I was typing out too, that's a fair point, there are better choices. Yeah, and it's just like, here's the problem with like something like this. This is where I come from with this. Very different era though. Yeah, that's true. Is that whenever I see like a game that comes out and it has, you know, this is feudal Japan and like the main character is a black guy and a girl, I immediately like, there's like no escapism that this can provide, because the entire story is built on the foundation of trying to appeal to a quote modern audience. Like that's the way that I see it, is like whenever I look at something like this, I don't view this as like an authentic like piece of fiction. I don't view it as a, you know, like, you know, it's not historical. It's just like kind of fan fiction in a way. And so not appeal to, but influence. Well, either way, right? Whatever you want to call it. I don't want to argue like what the word you want to use is, but just overall, like.
So I wrote down exactly what he said, because like I didn't want to like misquote him or anything. He really talks about like the idea of like not viewing it as an authentic piece of fiction and it's not historical. one, I find the idea of like what would an authentic piece of fiction even be? Like, I don't think that really comes into play here. Maybe fiction, a fictional story that was created in the period, and then like someone found it. That I could see that being like an authentic piece of fiction. But in terms of telling a story, I don't really think that comes into play here at all. And then saying that it's not historical, this is where like things get really weird to me. So like if we go with like fan favorite Ezio Auditore, he was in Italy. Everybody loves this character. He's Italian, but also a completely made-up character. He wasn't real. They made up the character. Same thing that they've done with pretty much all of their characters, all of their main protagonists. So in terms of historical significance, this is kind of like a bit of a first, because one, Kunoichi existed in historical Japan, and two, Yasuke existed in historical Japan. So you're getting a fictional story about a historical character that existed in actual history. And I just find that really confusing on why people view that as something lesser. It's just really weird. Taking the history and like adding a story to it, adding a unique whatever twist to it and whatever. I think this is perfectly fine. I don't understand. I feel like I am in a weird, I'm in this like weird,
like if I was a Japanese person, I would probably be
like,
kind of annoyed by this. I'm not, so like I don't really like. I mean, I don't like what the fuck does my opinion matter, right? But the truth is that that's the way I see it. Whenever I see a game that gets released and it has something like this, I just immediately don't take it seriously, because it's just that I think I just assume it's fake. Like it's just some bullshit, fake bullshit. That's it. I mean, you should care about appeal and influence because the idea is to indeed influence. Yeah, but everybody also has the right to influence people how they choose, because everybody has the right to expression, even if you disagree with them. Just like we do whenever we're talking about it right now. All art is bullshit and fake? Yeah, you're right. It is all bullshit and fake. But there's something that's like a willing suspension of disbelief. And I think that really, I don't really get that with this game, because it's just so in your face, and it just seems like
you can't. It's like how
it's like there's no way.
How dare you do this? I can't willingly suspend disbelief for the existence of Kunoichi and fucking Black Samurai. Like, how you're crossing a line. I personally don't think that anyone, like, I think we're in a day and age to where nothing is allowed to exist without someone reacting as if the existence of the thing was the equivalent of taking a stick and shoving it up their ass. Like, I cannot fathom why someone would just be so butthurt over this.
Hey, this was done without, like, this was done very clearly because of, like, the race and gender of the characters. Like, that's why it's like this. It's forced, yeah. And like, I see that, and it's just like, okay, this is just, I gotta take it that seriously, you know? Breaks some, it's too blatant, yeah.
Of any other reason why you would have a Assassin's Creed game.
By the way, if this is important, somebody mentioned this in chat. The game's good, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Like, people still play the game if it's good. Like, if the game's genuinely good, has great gameplay, people still play it. It doesn't matter.
In Japan, which we've been clamoring for since the beginning of Assassin's Creed.
You would assume that,
and then have the main protagonist that is a male be black. I see that and I'm like, there's no other reason than I want claps for it. There's no other reason. And I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. I've played every game. I love every game. And one of my favorite characters is actually Cassandra from Odyssey. So nobody can sit here and say, I don't like women or I don't like diverse people or whatever, when one of my favorite characters is diverse.
Wait. Hold on a sec. hold on a sec. Then, by your own admission, your own logic, your stance is insanely flawed. So, here, pulled up the historical accuracy of female Spartan warriors. So, the historical evidence suggests that while Spartan women enjoy more rights and freedoms compared to other Greek cities that were not trained or expected to serve as warriors in the military, here are some key points. Spartan girls received physical training and education, but this was primarily to prepare for childbirth and producing strong offspring who would then become warriors. Women in Sparta had more rights than in other Greek cities, such as the ability to own property and participate in public life, but their primary role was still centered around marriage and motherhood. There are no credible historical accounts of women serving as part of Spartan military forces or engaging in combat roles. The idea of female Spartan warriors is likely a modern myth, blah, 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 misunderstanding. This is more stemming from the creative liberties that they took when it came to incorporating the historical structure of the storytelling that they are doing. It's almost like people aren't allowed to tell stories anymore, and it blows my mind. But based off of Cassandra being a favorite character of yours, it's kind of jaw-dropping that you would attack Yasuke, who actually had the historical significance. His historical significance plays a role. He was there, like he existed. Like, I don't know what I don't know what the problem is. And the fact that it's a story that is just so perfectly swept under the rug, barely talked about, not really got much going on with it. It is the perfect story for them to just take and mold into, oh, he was either an assassin, worked along an assassin, was a Templar, was part of the Shadow organization, could have been any number of things. Like, this, it's beautiful. That's the, like, being an Assassin's Creed fan, that's what I enjoy the most of it, is I love seeing what they do to either historical characters or how they make our characters that we're following hide in history. And it's like, people forgot that. People are holding the Assassin's Creed like IP to a standard it never really was trying to be. And this goes to an earlier thing that like Asmongold says, or a later thing that Asmongold says. I'm not entirely sure, but the idea is that like what the Assassin's Creed IP is trying to do is take your understandings of like the culture, the society, the religion, the way the world worked back then, and tell you that it worked differently. And that's not really the case. The societies are like, have like a really high historical accuracy. How the world worked is exactly, has the historical significance of being historically relevant. But what we get from the protagonists are these weird case scenarios where like something's not quite how it seemed. Like, I don't remember learning this in history, because you wouldn't, because that's where they incorporate their creative liberties, is the structure of like how things are being secretly operated. It's a fun little conspiracy game, and then the protagonist plays that particular role of influence based off of that. It's not trying to lie about how history worked to you. It's not trying to make you think that like, oh, like it, because if that was the case, then like there would have been an entire structure to the nation of Sparta to where like it was predominantly warrior women. That was never the case. There were just particular cases, like maybe a pirate here, maybe an assassin there. Hidden facets to where these characters could exist in that society. It's not about modern politics in these aspects. I really think you need to calm down on that. Yeah, I don't understand the idea of like formulating opinions based off of nothing. Like, I'm excited to try this out because I've enjoyed the IP of Assassin's Creed stuff. It's my guilty pleasure stuff. Like, I just like messing around, running around, being an assassin, checking out history, learning some new historical stuff because they started to incorporate like more like historically accurate things regarding like their little like, the information in the game or whatever. But like, this is getting out of hand. You're fine. It's almost like if you don't find that thing to bitch about and put it on the internet, then you're not relevant to society. And I guess I'm doing the same thing here. Does this make me relevant now, Dad?
Hell, Connor Kenway and hate them.
It's not about hating women or like thinking the diversity is bad. It's that whenever you try to tell a story, like it's just like with like, especially, and this is the case with like, I would say like more realistic fantasy. There's not a real situation where like a woman is going to be able to like beat 3 guys as an assassin. It's just not real. Everybody knows it's not real. And so
is that what this is?
It just seems silly. And like, it makes sense in games like WoW, because you have like magic or like, you know, she's an archer or something like that, for sure. But like, if you're talking about actually like physical hand-to-hand like prowess in combat, there's no way. Anti-women settings, yeah, come on. Like, what are we talking about here?
I mean, you're an assassin.
Wait, those are some of my favorite characters from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So before the idiots want to start, that's not the reason. The reason is I see straight through this bullshit. And I know exactly why they picked this character. It's annoying. That's like if Ghost of Tsushima, instead of using Jin, they use a white dude. People would be like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
This doesn't make any sense to me. It's stupid. I know exactly why they're doing it. I see straight through it. It's annoying. It's pandering. It doesn't do anything.
That logic doesn't work. That logic doesn't work at all, because like with that logic in place, if they just randomly created a made up white guy to exist in feudal Japan and that was the guy that was running around in the area, that does not equate to Yasuke, who actually existed there. I just need to interject here. At what point is who allowed to make a story about Yasuke though? Who would be allowed to do that? At what point does someone have like your permission, because clearly that's what this is about, in order to make a story about Yasuke? Because by this logic, at no point would this be okay. I understand that you've been waiting for your installment of like Assassin's Creed to be in Japan. This has been a highly anticipated thing, but whose like fantasy, historical fiction, adaptation, inspiration story is allowed to be about Yasuke, right? So once again, by this logic, any point this story would ever be made, it would be a level of pandering. And like that, no matter what anyone did at any point in time, this would end up offending someone because of this weird mentality. I really don't get it.
For me, what pissed me off.
People say Lara Croft, yeah. A lot of people that use like examples of other characters, like they have things like Lara Croft is shooting people with a gun. Do you see kind of like what the difference is?
She shot dinosaurs with a gun.
So like that's the way it makes sense, but like I'm saying in like physical combat. In physical combat, there's not a realistic situation where, you know, any guy who's like even partially trained at all to be like a fighter is going to lose to some girl. Like it's just probably not going to happen. Like,
yeah, but like even with giving this, I don't even know why. I think he's just talking shit. I don't even know why this is even like a subject. The idea is that she's an assassin. The idea is like anyone would be an assassin. Assassins can like kill you when you least expect it. Can kill you with your guard down. Can kill you with poison. They don't need to be in a one-on-one confrontation with you. Like, why are we like trying to turn this into an arm wrestling competition? It doesn't, it's like, it doesn't work.
Like, let's be honest here. And so whenever I see this happen in games and it's done this way, it just seems like bullshit to me. I think obviously this character and the game exists as a way to spread some sort of, you know, like diversity message, something like that. I can see why Assassin's Creed fans would be annoyed by it. It does seem kind of patronizing in a way, especially whenever the character like the Yasuke is like, there's so much contention, right? Even if like you think that he's like a samurai or whatever, there's a tremendous amount of contention about whether it's true or not. I've heard about this before. I didn't even know that he was a character in the story, in like, you know, history until like this, what do you call it? Until this game was coming out, right? Yeah, sure. And again, like, I think that really this is kind of the difference. And like, this guy said it pretty well, right? Like, let me see if I can hear it. Look.
They could have used for Japan. He was a retainer, so he wasn't even a full-blown samurai. And for all of the characters they could have used for Japan, all these kind of different people they could have picked from, they picked Yasuke. Why do they pick Yasuke? Because he's black.
I could have swore what it was about Yasuke was, they're not actually entirely certain on his origin, but yeah, who served as a servant and a retainer to Oda during the Sengoku period. Okay, so this is probably gonna be the general time period. It'll probably be a little bit earlier in earlier. I imagine this is at least gonna go up to the Hanoji incident. Which is, I think is, I don't know. I'm sorry, cause like, yeah, if he has relevancy to this, but yeah, it's gonna be. We're gonna look at we're gonna probably see this battle, and then definitely the Honji incident. That was when Akechi, that was his name, yeah, Mitsuhide, rebelled and assassinated Nobunaga. But hold on, let me look up the definition of samurai. It could just be Japanese swordsman. Like that might just be the only requirement. A member of a powerful military castle in feudal Japan, especially a member of a class military. A member of a powerful military castle in feudal Japan, especially a member of a class of military retainers of the daimyos. So, yeah, he was a samurai. I'm sorry if it's like based off of the definition, because he was a retainer to Nobunaga, he was technically a samurai. I don't know why he got so butthurt for him being a samurai.
I will say this. I am infinitely more excited about Assassin's Creed Shadows than I am about the Star Wars game. Like, this at least seems cool. Like, the Star Wars game, there's nothing cool about that. It's just fucking cringe garbage. Honestly, had a female Spartan warrior historically accurate is a joke in these games. Yeah, but I can see how people would be kind of annoyed if they're taking like one individual character and like acting like, oh, it was like this all along. You know, it's like kind of an insult to people's intelligence to a certain degree. Why can't we just have a normal Japanese person as samurai? Like, please, yeah, exactly. Japanese people aren't black, so it's not very DI efficient. I don't know. It depends on, like, I don't know how Japanese people feel about this. I'd be very curious to see what they think. So I don't know why people...
I like it because of the fact that, like, it's a story that we, like, outside of that one anime, will this story ever get told? Right? In a fictional setting, it's perfectly fine. Will this story get told? Will this story exist? I'm perfectly okay with the story existing in this way. Again, if I wanted if I was super butthurt regarding the inclusivity of my protagonist being of a certain nationality or ethnic background or whatever, then like there are other games I can play, but I don't understand the reason to get butthurt over this. So please let me know, what is the reason to get so butthurt regarding this?